One of the bloggers was looking at the Democratic convention, and he wrote something. And I'm not saying I said that. Don't get me wrong. Well, I can't say it because 70,000 people signed this a petition to have him removed from writing blogs because he insulted all of the women in the audience by referring to them in the name of a very famous play that was on Broadway for many years. See, when you're young, you say, well, I don't want that electoral college. It should be a popular vote the way it is in Venezuela. That's what we want. We want voting like you have it in China. No, we want popular vote. That's what we want. I got an email, came in the mail, very urgent, possible 2012 U.S. presidential election fraud from a listener who wouldn't tell me who he is, but he says, this is going around the internet. U.S. presidential election fraud in motion. Obama sends voting services to George Soros company in Spain. August 25th, 2012. Spanish company will count American votes overseas in November. Now, I reported this in Trickle Down Tyranny. I know I had it in the book. Joseph Stalin, the dictator of Russia, said those who cast the votes decide nothing. Those who count the votes decide everything. That's nice. That's not alarming to you? Okay. Fugazis, we're in business on the Savage Nation. I'll be right back to take your calls on, is Obama, what kind of, is it Fugazi or Fugazi, number one? That's like saying, is it, we were doing this 2 weeks ago about sauces, right? We called it a tomato, what did you call it, a sauce or a gravy, a sauce or a gravy? Is Obama a Fugazi or a Fugazi? I'll be right back.
Savage.
Welcome to the Savage Nation. Let me ask you something. How do you feel about the fact that a Spanish company will count American votes overseas in November? How do you feel about the fact there will be no paper trail to even check? How do you feel about the fact that the Obama government has outsourced the counting of votes for the 2012 election to a Spanish company that is in partners with George Soros? How do you feel that knowing that this company, the software, has now been sold to a company named SCYTL, owned by George Soros, headquartered in Spain? How come we're having a situation where there's no traceable record of how many and what votes were scored? How come we're finding out that this company, SCTYL, is shadow-owned by Peter Vallis, a former CEO of GlobalNet, who is a maximum-level contributor to the Obama campaign? And Vallis is also contacted with Media Matters, a communication consortium owned by George Soros. How come this is allowed to stand? How come the American people are like bunny rabbits who don't even ask if the integrity of their vote is guaranteed, since their votes will be transmitted in digital form with no paperwork backup to check for discrepancies? How come the American people are not arguing that this should not go on? How is it that this doesn't invite dishonest practices such as beginning the voting day with counts that were not reset to zero? Or how about the practice of switching within the software votes from one candidate to another? Will Harry Reid's re-election in Nevada, which was seen to be fraudulent, serve as a template for Obama in 2012? Why did this country outsource a job that goes to the very core of our constitutional process to an outside organization? Why do the Democrats fight voter ID laws? Well, that would mark the beginning of the end of voter fraud. Ladies and gentlemen, with the beginning of the motor voter law on the Janet Sterno and the electronic voting machine, and now turning it over to a Spanish company owned by George Soros, the illegitimate left has literally continued to steal elections right beneath our noses. So what do we do about it? I don't know. How come it hasn't been mentioned by any of the Republicans? How is this possible? Who in Washington authorized a global software company owned by a Spanish socialist to be put in charge of counting American votes? Why is a company that is based in Spain, which counts votes in Athens, Greece, now teaming up with the Commonwealth of Virginia to count the overseas ballots of our military members? Who in the Department of Defense and the Congress approved this? Our republic is literally being pulled out from under our feet. Why? I don't know why. We know we have a corrupt machine in Obama, but where are the Republicans on this? As Thomas Jefferson often warned, the price of liberty is eternal vigilance. Do you have enough vigilance? Joseph Stalin warned us. Those who cast the votes decide nothing. Those who count the votes decide everything. Now George Soros has been silent during this Democrat communist fest, was not seen anywhere even though he's the puppet master. How is that possible? How is any of this possible? Is the election predetermined? Is that why the Republicans are so defeated? Do they look defeated? Do they sound defeated? Have they act defeated? Why have the Republicans permitted one radical leftist moderator after another, one Ambien-infused lunatic after another, to become the so-called moderators of the debate between Obama and Romney? One Ambien or other drug-induced moderator from the left after another, not one conservative. How did this happen to our country? What are we going to do about it? Well, nothing. Nothing. There's nothing you could do about it. I think we are no longer a republic. I think we're a banana republic. But if you care to talk about it, you can. The phone number is 1-800-449-8255.